Spanish Town down to Montego Bay. Well, oh, Caribbean dreams to the making. Steel and stone never breaking. From the San Francisco we elevate. Design Jamaica dominate.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Design Jamaica. In this video, we head to Drax Hall, St. Anne to start a new series here on Design Jamaica. We are redesigning our townships, more specifically, our central business districts, or in other words, designing a proper downtown for our rural towns. And today, we are merging the growing metropolis of Drax Hall and St. Anne's Bay as one city. Have you noticed in recent years, out of nowhere, this little area called Drax Hall started out as a residential development built with high-end luxury homes in a gated community, built mostly for the middle and upper class. So yes, we all know that, but it is the commercial side of it that we see have been taking pace like a jet running off into the blue skies, giving its neighboring town, the capital, St. Anne's Bay, a massive run for its money. We have seen the influx of Kingston-based and yes, some international businesses moving into Drax Hall. It also happened that in recent times, we are now seeing most corporate companies choosing Drax Hall as a place to be in St. Anne over other towns like Ocho Rios and St. Anne's Bay. I mean, when you see a court store relocating from a major town to a place like Drax Hall, you must know. Leave it to us, then I will go on a Drax Hall, so we make everybody moving into Drax Hall. Why everybody wants a piece of this little commercial area? So we also have to remind ourselves that Drax Hall is not a township or a part of any township. It is an incorporated community of its own. And even though it's just right next door to St. Anne's Bay, the capital, it is not a part of that town. And if you look on our map, we can clearly see where both Drax Hall and St. Anne's Bay will be merging sometime in the near future as Drax Hall is growing westward toward St. Anne's Bay, not Ocho Rios. And most of us think that Drax Hall will merge with Ocho Rios. No, because we have this little protected area between Drax Hall and Ocho Rios, which is the Duns River watershed area, which I don't think NEPA will allow any form of development to take place in this area. So because of this reason, I don't think Drax Hall will be merging with Ocho Rios to become one big city. It will most likely be merged with St. Anne's Bay, the capital. And being that the town of St. Anne's Bay have not seen any form of modern development in recent times, it certainly could use a modern venture like this one of merging with Drax Hall. I mean, St. Anne's Bay is already an existing township with the blueprints of being a town and plus the capital. On the other hand, Drax Hall is an unincorporated residential and commercial development which is now growing westward towards St. Anne's Bay. So why not merge both areas to become one big city? You know, architecture is a part of what we do here at DJC. So with our architectural skills, we are going to redesign the blueprints of both Drax Hall and St. Anne's Bay as one city. And also Steertown and Balmy Bay is very close by, so yes, they would also be incorporated into this new city. So as you know, Drax Hall would be like the new Kingston or the halfway tree for this new city. That would be like the uptown area, being that this is where the upper class and middle class gated communities are, along with the modern infrastructural development along the way. Yeah, so Drax Hall would be the bougie part of town, while St. Anne's Bay would be like the downtown or the crossroads, if you understand what I mean. Okay, so being that St. Anne's Bay proper would be the downtown, that would be the downtown of this new city, so Drax Hall would become the midtown. And for some of us who don't know what a midtown is, it's halfway between downtown and uptown. Kingston does have a midtown, which is Halfway Tree and New Kingston, but most of us don't really know this area as midtown. We just know it as Halfway Tree or Kingston. And as you know, uptown is Ligani, Narbrook, Cherry Gardens, all these areas. And for those of us who are in the diaspora, especially those in Atlanta, you would know that there's downtown Atlanta, midtown Atlanta, and then Buckhead. And if you're in New York City, you know you have Lower Manhattan, which is downtown New York, Midtown Manhattan, which is midtown New York, and Harlem and Washington Heights, which is uptown Manhattan or uptown New York. So those are some examples that we use just to show you what a midtown is. Okay, so right here we're laying out our grid of the midtown of this new city, and there you can see the main boulevard right there in the middle of it, connecting St. Anne's Bay with the residential communities of Drax Hall. That's right, so all these empty lots will be utilized, and those structures that are right there between Drax Hall and St. Anne's Bay will be incorporated into the design, so they won't be torn down or anything. We'll just build around them, incorporating them into the design. And as you can see, there's a whole lot of space for a green recreational area, so we could build something like a size of a Central Park out here. Yes, a huge park, something similar to Central Park. So we would not do much changes to the grid of St. Anne's Bay. As you know, it's an historic town. As you know, it's the birthplace of Marcus Garvey, and a lot more history to it, so not much changes would be done to St. Anne's Bay. But as you know, the road infrastructure and some of the building architecture would be modernized somewhat, but we would try our best to preserve the history of most of these buildings. Now, if you look to the west of the town, right up, at this roundabout, which the map is showing that is not a part of the town, but all these areas would also be incorporated into St. Anne's Bay. Yes, but the city limits would stop there. We would not take in Prairie. Prairie would be its own thing as a suburb of St. Anne's Bay. Okay, so here's a map of the entire city. As you can see, St. Anne's Bay, Miami Bay, Drax Hall, Steertown are all incorporated as one city on this map right here. And these 5 areas, Drax Hall, St. Anne's Bay proper, Steertown, Miami Bay, would be the 4 boroughs, or is it 4 or 5? The 5 boroughs, just like New York City. So St. Anne's Bay would be its own borough. We have Steertown, its own borough, Miami Bay, its own borough, Drax Hall, its own borough. So that's 4. Yeah, that's 4. And if we zoom out, you can now see the map of the entire Prairie, St. Anne's Bay metro area. And if you look closely, you can see how far east Ocherius is from this area. So that's the reason why we don't think that Ocherius will be merged with the Drax Hall. No, I don't think that will happen. That open space you're looking at there between Drax Hall and Ocherius is of course the Duns River watershed, which is a contributory to the world's famous Duns River Falls. So it's a protected area which NEPA will never ever give the go-ahead to build in that area. So Ocherius will continue to be its own thing. If it ever to become its own city, it would most likely merge with Tower Isle across the border over in St. Mary and as far east as Boscobel and Oracabessa. So Ocherius is sprawling eastward, not westward. So Drax Hall and Ocherius will never merge. So what would be the name of this new city? Well, being that St. Anne's Bay has been there centuries before Drax Hall, even though Drax Hall has been getting most of the attention and making the good news list in modern times, the name St. Anne's Bay has a strong history to it, and of course, you know, the town is the capital of St. Anne's, so it is most fitting that the name of the city would be called St. Anne's Bay. And it doesn't stop here with Drax Hall and St. Anne's Bay alone. There are many other urban spaces across the island that need a concept design like this one. I've heard the current Prime Minister, Dr. Andrew Holness, speak on many occasions that our townships was badly designed from start. And I do believe he's talking the very truth. If you should look at many of our major townships and see how badly designed they are. Towns like Ocherius, Mandeville, Maypen, Old Harbor, and even Montego Bay itself. And I could go on and on and on. the way how these towns were badly laid out, because I don't think they were designed. I think they were just laid out. I mean, they just have a little town square with a clock in the middle and a main street going right through it. You know, with some little off streets that leads into neighborhoods and some very dangerous ghettos. These towns were designed to just be like a little village where you just pass through, get something to eat, and you're on your way. They were not designed for the volume of vehicular traffic and development growth that we are seeing today. And if you should check out the streets and boulevards that exist in most of these towns, they are just 2-lane streets with 1 lane going in each respective directions. And with the poor layout of these streets comes the poor building foundation of the buildings that go along these streets, which leaves little or no room for future development and expansion. Or in our Jamaican terms, what gone by the morning can't come good evening. Or so we allow ourselves to believe. I personally don't believe that, not even for a second. I do believe that this chokehold that has been preventing our major townships from experiencing modern and a true urban development can be fixed. And because of this narrative, that even our technocrats, and yes, people in high places that you're not expecting these thinking, I'm talking about educated people that call themselves technocratic engineers and with BScs and PhDs that call themselves Dr. This and Professor That. These are the people that are making these poor decisions that you least expect it from. Now, I've been hearing the Prime Minister talking about building new towns. I'm not attacking the Prime Minister now, so please don't come at me. I'm not attacking Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, but I've been hearing him talking about building new towns. Now, you know, us here at Design Jamaica and the Caribbean, we believe in development, we believe in building new things, and we do believe in starting from scratch when it comes to certain things. But what I don't believe in is to build something new from scratch when you have something that existed already that can easily be fixed. I mean, most of these townships already have the infrastructure, the blueprint, and the population, which gives them great potential of becoming futuristic and modern cities. All they need is development. That's all they need, development. Most of these townships are just bawling out for some brick and mortar, for some fresh brick, mortar, tar, whatever you can think of development-wise. These towns are crying out for it. And I'm talking about towns like St. Anne's Bay here, or May Pen, Savannah Lamar, or Morant Bay. These are the towns that has been left to rot. These towns already has most of the infrastructures in place, which gives them great potential of becoming future vibrant cities. But they have been left neglected for some strange reason or the other. Probably because they don't have tourism, they don't have sea and sand, or they don't have skyscrapers. Or probably because they don't have a Norbrook or a Cherry Gardens, or probably because they are not on a hill that is cool and calm. Like the Jamaican saying say, you must learn to dance a yard before you go abroad. Or just put it as a question, plain and simple. Why are we going to build something new? Why are we going to start from scratch of building a new city when the existing townships are crying out for help? I literally don't understand. Please make it make sense. And then you're going to say, but because, you know, they are not smart cities, so you're trying to build smart city. These townships can become smart cities. All they need is for somebody to invest in their development. That's all they need. That's all they need. Build on what you have instead of go spend up a whole heap of money to start something from scratch. That's way more expensive. It literally don't make no sense. So, Mr. Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Dr. Andrew Holness, please wheel and come again with your development plan, sir. Instead of building new cities from scratch, that probably going to take the next century to build, which myself and you may never live to see. Instead of doing that, sir, please try to modernize the existing townships that we have. The Maypens, the Luces, the Linsteads, the Spanish Towns. Try to focus and modernize our existing townships. So what are your thoughts on our design concept for St. Anne's Bay and the Drax Hall merging together to become one big modern city on the North Coast? Do you think it's a good idea? And do you believe it's a credible concept that can be used to redesign other townships that is crying out for help? And if so, tell us which town would you like to see us redesign next? Let us know in the comments. This has been Design Jamaica. If you or anyone you know are about content like these and would love to see more content like this one on wide-scale development across Jamaica, please don't hesitate to like, share and subscribe to Design Jamaica and the Caribbean. Leave a comment and please turn on your post notification bell so you can be notified whenever new content like these are out showcasing massive development across Jamaica. We also implore you to go over to our sister channel, Javatar Network, to watch the season finale of Reality Realif. This daytime drama-like series tells a story about a rich oligarchy family living in the United Republics of Barcelona, led by a former president and his family and their associates. And when we say daytime drama, yes, daytime drama, something similar to one of those Tyler Perry dramas, The Oval, Sisters, or Ruthless. And if you're watching Love Tyler Perry dramas, you know what I'm talking about. The link is posted right here in the upper left of the screen or in the description below. Please go over there and most importantly subscribe. We need your support. Until next time, my wonderful viewers and subscribers, thank you for watching.
Brought to you by Films by Jawade. Follow us at Films by Jawade on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram.